I gave away my motorcycle for free. Just roll the intro. Roll the intro. I can't. Hey guys, welcome to Fast Lane. Yes, it is true. On today's episode, we're going to talk about me giving my motorcycle away for free. But before we get into all that, I need you to do something for me. I need you to hit that subscribe button right there, like the video, and then share it with your friends and, spam your enemies with it. Wouldn't you like to spam somebody with this guy? So yes, you have heard me correct. I have given away my motorcycle for free. This is not clickbait. I did not sell my bike. I did not trade my bike in. I did not loan my bike to someone. I did not drop it off at the shop or something like that and it's coming back. This baby's gone and it's not coming back. But before you totally freak out about it, let's take a look in the garage and let's see what's still here. All right, guys, let's go ahead and let's see what's still out here in the garage. So as you can see in my very messy garage, the old Indian Scout Bobber is still sitting, of course, right there. And I'm not getting rid of that bike unless there's like a divine word from above that I need to or something.
I am the god of your ancestors.
But yeah, that bike's going to be around for a long, long time. I absolutely love it. But you would know, if you've been watching the channel for a while, that I had also, along with the 2019 Indian Scout Bobber, I had a 2017 matte silver metallic Honda Rebel 300. So like many of you, I was a dirt bike rider as a kid. I had several dirt bikes. I loved motorcycles. I loved the speeder bike guys on Return of the Jedi. Yeah, that was one of my favorite characters on that entire movie. I thought that looked so cool. And riding a motorcycle has always reminded me of being one of those scout troopers that rode those speeder bikes through indoor. How cool is that? But I had never, ever had a street bike. I'd gotten older and I'd wanted one for a long time. There was a number of times where I about pulled the trigger and got one, but I'd never owned one of my own. I'd never had my motorcycle endorsement. I had borrowed a couple buddies a couple times to run to Burger King or something and, illegally ridden their Ninja or something. Not a great idea. I shouldn't probably do that. But I had never had my motorcycle endorsement and I never had a street bike. But I knew pretty much what I wanted. I knew I wanted something that was kind of a cruiser, something maybe in the bobber world. I was really into that at the time. And so I started looking at bikes. I found a number of bikes that I was interested in. We had the Honda Shadow Phantom, the Yamaha Bolt, obviously the Iron 883 and that cool matte black. I loved that thing. But all those bikes were definitely a bit out of my price range. And I wasn't sure I needed that much of a bike to actually get started, kind of as a starter bike. So behold, I get on Honda's website, Honda Motorcycles, and I see the brand new 2017 Honda Rebel 300 in this awesome matte silver metallic paint, and I just absolutely fell in love. One thing I fell in love was right around like $4,300 or something, and I was like, okay, I like that price. I think I'm really interested in this bike. And I watched, there was a couple videos that had just hit YouTube, and I was like, oh yeah, this is a cool bike. This would be a great little starter bike. So I ran right down the next day, ran down to our local Honda shop, and they had a red one in stock. It wasn't what I wanted, but I sat on it, and I was like, oh yeah, I think this is the bike I'm gonna get. A Honda Rebel 300, the new Rebel, not the old 250s or the old 450s, which were great for what they were, which was, the 250 was definitely a starter bike for thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of people probably. That is a starter bike for people, okay? The Honda Rebel 250, starter bike without a doubt. I've had this argument, the Sportster, I don't really look at that as a starter bike, and we can argue about it, and you can comment below. I know you will. Go ahead and hate me in the comments below if you want to about it, but I don't see the Sportster as a starter bike. It's got like, you know, almost 1,000cc engine, 900 cc's or whatever, and you know, for the 883, the Honda Rebel's like a 300. You know, I mean, it's way lighter. It's like 340 pounds or 70 pounds or something like that. It's a starter bike. One thing I really liked about the Rebel was obviously the price. The price was right in the range of what I wanted to spend. Other things that are really cool about this bike are, you know, insurance is super cheap. Your insurance is going to be like $12 to $14 a month or something with a bike of that size. Very, very cheap. Incredibly good on gas. I get about 80 miles, or I got about 80 miles to a gallon on the Rebel, and you know, it was a great little commuter bike. I rode it all the time to work before I got the bobber. Even on sunny days, I was riding that little Rebel. Worked great for me for commuting. I didn't mind getting the thing dirty. I didn't mind riding it in the rain. I actually dumped it a couple times, which I was really glad I hadn't bought a more expensive bike when I did that. Because, you know, you're learning. You're getting better at riding street and stuff. And yeah, it's better to start and dump a bike that's a lot cheaper. You won't cry as bad. So I love the looks of the Rebel. It looks like a cruiser kind of. People were customizing them. They were bobbing them. But it still had that trellis frame, and you know, it kind of had that cool, more of a futuristic look about it, which I thought was cool. Other things I like about the Rebel is that fat front tire, because man, I was all about the Harley 48. I thought that was so cool, that you know, old retro 50s-ish looking front tire, and of course look what I ended up with. The Scout Bobber's got a very fat front tire. I love that look. That was something I found that was super cool about the Rebel as well. Kind of gave me the 48 look a little bit in a much cheaper package. So I found a Rebel up, I think it was called Sun Country Motorsports or something like that. I got the thing for like cost. I think it was like $3,900, something like that. It was so cheap. Matter of fact, I asked a couple other dealers if they could match it, and they were like, we can't do that. There's no way you're doing that. And I was like, well, I got the email right here. Believe me, I did it. Here's my essential experience with the bike. The Rebel is a quality little bike. Honda makes quality motorcycles. Matter of fact, I've said it many, many times in these videos. They're practically bulletproof machines. They have their stuff dialed in, much like Toyota has on their engines for years and years and years. Honda engines are practically flawless. They are bulletproof. Like I said, the Rebel is what I would classify a beginner's bike. It's kind of a starter bike. It's a great platform for people to get their chops on. So let's talk some specs about the Rebel. The Rebel is a 300cc. The one I have is a 300cc machine. Gets about 80 miles to the gallon. Mine had no ABS, very standard. Kind of a low slung front handlebars, that big fat front tire, and it's a single cylinder engine. The one thing I would say that I was always disappointed in is with single cylinder engines, you cannot really put an exhaust on single cylinder engines, at least not these Hondas, because it will sound like a dirt bike. You're not gonna get it to sound like a Harley no matter what you do. I mean, if you've done it, please tell me. I would love to know. I tried all kinds of things on that bike to try to make it work, and it either just got really obnoxiously loud or just sounded like I was riding a dirt bike. So I just stuck with a stock exhaust, and I lived with it. I did do some customization to it. If you watch, I have an old walk around video, my very first video I ever produced on YouTube a couple years ago, where I walk around the bike. You can see a few things that I did. Some of them probably weren't the smartest ideas, but you know, I was getting going and all that. But it was a great little bike, you know, top speeds probably somewhere about 80 miles an hour, you know, with yourself all tucked in really tight. Probably a little more if you're a little lighter than me. I'm 6'2", about 230 pounds. So if you're 150 pounds, you probably can cruise a little faster than that. Pretty comfortable bike. A little short for me. It's got standard foot controls, so those foot controls were not good for me as a tall guy. Cramped me up in the hips a lot, and yeah, there's a number of times where I had to like kind of stand up and like, you know, shake out my hips, and maybe I'm just getting old. But yeah, it's not the best for a really tall rider, but as far as a starter bike, it's great. I mean, if you really look at the price of the 300 Rebel and then you actually compare it to kind of like a Grom or some of these other starter bikes, it's not that much more money to actually get a legit, you know, like a real sized motorcycle. Now, I'm not throwing any shade to the Groms. Like, I love Groms, okay? So cut it out. Super light bike. I think it weighs about 370 pounds. I could be wrong. I've kind of forgotten. I think it holds about 3 gallons in the tank or something like that, but you're going to get like 78, 80 miles to a gallon. You're going to go a long ways on a tank of gas. Now, don't expect incredible power. It's, you know, it's got like a 5-speed gearbox, and you're just not going to be burning off the tires necessarily with this thing, but it is a bike that's a whole lot of fun, and it is absolutely a great commuter bike. So what happened to the Rebel? So long story short, I have a buddy that was moving out of town, had no transportation, needed a bike. And you know, that bike's long since paid for, and it has absolutely done its job for me flawlessly, amazingly. Like I've said many times, I loved riding that bike in the rain, so I didn't have to get this boy all dirty over here. And, you know, I was happy to give it away, and it ain't coming back, man. So the question is, now there's only one bike in the garage, and I don't want to get that sucker dirty, okay? I live in the Pacific Northwest in Oregon, and I ride to work almost every day, as you already would know, and I don't want to get the Indian Scout Bobber dirty, so I need to get another bike. Here's the choices of bikes that I'm looking at. All right, number one, I really like the Ducati Scrambler. I think I'm probably maybe a little large for that bike, but I could definitely ride it back and forth to work, and I think that'd be a great commuter bike. Another bike I really like is the Indian FTR. I would ride that thing all day long. That looks like a ton of fun, and it would keep me in the Indian family, of course. Now, another thought I had was just to get another Scout, get a standard Scout, because I can tell you this right now, the bobber, the fenders on the bobber are no good in the rain. They're just going to throw rain and mud right up your back, okay? But the standard Scout has those big swooping fenders, and it keeps the rain off of you. So I have considered getting maybe like a white Scout or a Scout 60 or something like that, just the standard old school Scout, and, you know, fixing that one up a little more classically. So if you got a bike that you would recommend that I ride in the rain, that would be a good riding in the rain bike, will you comment below, talk to me about it, let me know of your ideas, let's discuss it, tell me about your bike, tell me about your experiences, the bikes that I've chosen that are possibilities, you know, talk to me below. Tell me what you think would be cool. I mean, I even considered, man, maybe I'll just get a little Honda Grom and I'll look like an elephant riding a football going to work. You know, really doesn't matter to me. I really don't care what people think about me. But comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. And let's do something nice for somebody today. It's Fastlane. So I gave away my motorcycle for free. Just roll the intro. I gave away my motorcycle for free. Roll the intro. Roll the intro. So I gave away my motorcycle. I gave away my motorcycle for free. Just roll it. Roll the intro. Roll the intro. I can't. I gave away my motorcycle for free. Just roll the intro. No, I can't. Don't look at me.